Ladies and gentlemen, people of the internet, it is I. Trying to figure out how this stuff works, but sometimes you just gotta jump in, man. I don't know how all of this live streaming stuff works, but how do you learn? You learn by doing. So yeah, man. Here I am trying to figure out how this thing works, and this will now be the format moving forward. I am going to now, if you see the videos that are on my channel now currently, all within the same context. So the context of the videos will be the same. The format is going to change. The format would now be in this type of dialogue. It seems to work for me a lot better. This speaking in this format feels more organic as opposed to, and not to say that the videos that I uploaded before weren't organic, but it's a completely different process and different type of communication when you are live streaming versus when you are recording a video to upload to YouTube. Two completely different things. So what I do know now is that I want my videos to operate like this now moving forward. Again, I do believe that this is more of a comfortable means of communication for me, but all still doing the same thing. So of course, still doing reviews. Hopefully I want to get to the point of, reaching out with other content creators, reaching out to other people that I do admire, because ultimately, so that is what so let's even start there. So what exactly is abstract assembly, right? Abstract assembly basically is the assembly of the abstract. It's the idea of us putting our biases aside, putting our differences aside, and finding a way that we can all coexist, right? Abstract assembly is the assembly of the abstract. So on this channel, I'm hoping to create a space where people can come and feel heard, people can come and educate, people can come and learn, because at the end of the day, we have to figure out how to coexist on this planet, bro. Again, the rate at which the world is moving right now, if we don't figure out a way to put our biases aside and figure out a way we can coexist, civil war is inevitable. Let's just call a spade a spade. It's like, how are we still struggling with racism? How are we still struggling with classism? Like, these are, to me, very huge. It's just like, they're hurdles that I just don't understand. I don't think we're asking the right questions as to why we can't overcome these. There's a lot of situations right now. It's like we're spending too much time fighting over things that we already know. We're fighting over the fact that, oh, hey, man, I'm different. You're different. Oh, you're left. I'm right. Bro, we're beyond that. We know that everybody have different views. Now we got to start figuring out our ways. Like, all right, man, putting that to the side, I still have to go to work with you. I still have to, because think about it, man. We're sitting here creating spaces, and even if it's not you personally that's sitting here, yelling, or hopefully maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but it's the people that look like us that is almost a representation, and it's the people that do share our same political beliefs, right? That's what, to my understanding, is what tribalism is, right? So tribalism is exactly that. So we naturally tend to click up, right? Essentially, when it comes to things like this. So we got to figure out, man, it's just like, all right, bro, I believe what I believe, you believe what you believe. You seem pretty adamant on your beliefs. I'm pretty adamant on my beliefs, but we still have to coexist. Like, we still have to, you and your people who believe what you believe, and me and my people who believe what I have to believe. We still have to go to the same grocery stores. We still have to sit in the same plane rides. We still go to the same sporting events. We still go to the same concerts. So we should figure out solutions that we can coexist. If we're sitting here still fighting people for their differences that are not going to change, I'm always going to be a black man. I'm always going to be a heterosexual male. I don't know politics. I don't care to learn about politics, left or right. I don't do any of that, but my beliefs are always going to be my beliefs. And I'm open to learn other things as well too. But of course, there's things that I already know that I stand firm on as well. So it's like, I'm not here to necessarily change anybody, right? And I don't think, we're here to, but we can at least educate each other. I don't want anybody to try to change me. I'm not here to necessarily change you either, but we can learn from each other. So that way it's like, all right, cool, man. Well, now I see what you're saying. Or maybe, hey, I still don't see what you're saying, right? Maybe at the end of a discussion, we still just have to agree to disagree. And again, I'm not necessarily setting up a space to debate, but we can learn, right? Debating is not getting us anywhere. Flat earthers and, people who think that the world is round, like, debating, it doesn't matter, bro. Debating, oh, no, I'm right. My beliefs are right. I'm not here to debate whether we're right or wrong. I'm here to ask the question of, your belief and my belief, how do we make it work in this globe, in this ecosystem called life? How do we make it make sense? That's what I'm trying to figure out, bro. These are the conversations we need to be having, bro. Where I'm not here to change you. You seem adamant on your beliefs. I'm pretty adamant on mine as well too. But we still have to coexist. We still have to go to the same workplace, take that same train ride in the morning. You send your kids off to school with whoever, whatever teacher, whatever guidance counselor, whatever the case is. So we better figure out a way to coexist. It's like, all right, bro. And some people, sometimes we think that it doesn't affect us personally, and it will. It will, man, because you got to think, you got to scope out, think, of course, within your day-to-day activities, day-to-day, interactions that you have out there in the world, and then kind of scope out in the world and figure out if everybody else is willing to do the work that I hope we would be willing to do on this channel, man. And that's, again, come with our biases at the door. When you step into this space, man, you leave your biases at the door. You leave your stigmas at the door. You come with an open mind. Let's come and learn from one another, man. Let's, study, I want to get into a point where, I'm still doing reactions at things that are culturally relevant to all of us, right? And analyze that, man. Like, what do you guys collectively think about the situation? What do you think is the most effective way of handling a situation that's happening right now? So of course, I'm not really here to necessarily do celebrity gossip, but of course there's things that are just super culturally relevant that still hold some type of learning value. I feel like some type of philosophical value. So perfect example with the whole Will Smith and Chris Rock situation, that's kind of been still bubbling back up again as well too, in terms of the special that he just put out, things like that. So that would have been a great conversation that, I don't necessarily want to spend too much time on celebrity gossip, but it was the slap that was heard around the world. So of course, everybody was discussing it. It was interesting to see the perspective of right or wrong, who was right, who was wrong, this, that, and the other. These are the kind of conversations we can start entertaining, man. It's like, all right, cool. And maybe, we'll never all unanimously agree on one thing, but we might be able to learn a little bit of perspective. Like, all right, cool. But again, we have to bring forth the conversation. I want this to serve as a space where people feel comfortable to share their ideas, and learn from everybody else, man. It's like, if you've never considered yourself, oh no, I would never sit in a room with that person, or I'll never, whatever the case is. If you carry on that mindset, how far can we go off of that energy? How far can we go off the mindset of like, nah, man, I'm going to sit over here, you sit over there. And if that's a conclusion that you think as well too, or nah, it should just be every man for himself, I would argue that you rethink that, man. If everybody embraces the mindset of, what's that saying? An eye for an eye, everybody goes blind, or something like that. I don't even know the official saying. But if we're saying right now that no, it's every man for himself, and that's what we're gonna do, that's still a solution that will have us screwed out here. Because if everybody out there in the world adopts the mindset of every man for himself, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when you walk into that doctor's office and your doctor is the one that also was every man for himself? So he told himself in his mind, you know what, I don't like your kind. You're political. Oh, I don't do Republicans, or I don't do, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, we got to get to the point where it's just like, you got to think about things like that, man. Honestly, you don't think how it might affect you. That mechanic, something happens to your car. You take your car to the mechanic. That mechanic is another person who may or may be just like you, or have different views as well too, that you may agree with, may not agree with. What are you going to do if your mechanic embraces the mindset of, oh, every man for himself? So I told myself I no longer, if everybody's going to be every man for himself and only care about them and, the ones around them, we're not going to be able to coexist. You're not going to be able to sit comfortable in a sporting event knowing that is also an abstract assembly, right? An assembly of the abstract. You're not going to feel comfortable in the movie theater. You're not going to feel comfortable on the plane if everybody adopts a every man for himself mindset. We got to come in here like, hey, man, what is it? What are those jokes? An Arab, a Muslim, and a Christian all walk into a bar. Those type of things. Like, we got to start having conversations like that, essentially, man. It was just like, all right, man, we can joke about our differences, but at least it's still love when we pull up. At least it's still love in the settings, in the spaces that we hold. Why is there so much hostility, bro? We have to coexist with each other. We should not be debating anymore about who's right and who's wrong. We need to just like, all right, bro, maybe you're right, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, maybe you're wrong. But hey, for this time being, let's find a way to be cordial. Because what are you going to do? If you got kids out there, man, if you got little ones that you want to grow up in the world, what type of world do you want them to grow in? How are you contributing to the world that your kids are going to grow up behind you? How are you contributing to that, man? Start having these type of conversations at your dinner table as well, too, bro. Like, that's what I'm trying to essentially start doing on this channel. So we'll see. I don't want to ramble too much, bro. And again, I'm just learning. But this is how this is gonna work for me, man. Moving forward, like this will be the context, this will be the format. Again, all the content will still derive off of philosophy, self-improvement, and the culture. That is always gonna be what we are talking about on this channel. Again, I'm expecting to create a space for people to be able to think freely, share their ideas freely. Come learn something, man. Come learn a perspective that you probably weren't privy to, last week or just yesterday, whatever the case is. Come listen in on intellectual conversations. Come, listen in on people putting in their 2 cents. And of course, I hopefully want to get to the point where the chats are, going as well too. Get some people interacting as well too, man. Put your 2 cents in the pot, man. We can present topics and ask, what's your take on that, man? I'm always curious to know what people think about some of the things, because I look at it like this, man. We're all playing this life thing together, right? We're all doing this life thing together to the best of our abilities. So it's just like I'm interested to hear what people are putting as answers on the test, right? If life is one big test, I'm interested to see what some of you guys are putting as answers on that test, I think that's what is going to be the most valuable. What did you put for number 3, right? If this is all one big, test, what did you put for number 3, man? Oh, dang, you put A, I put C. I put C because I either guessed or I believe the answer was C because of, using that analogy, right? So it's just like, maybe, man, and maybe your headstrong. No, man, when I got to number 3, it was this. And again, that could be the analogy of just like the different things that we all have to, the questions of life, the happenings of life that we're all going to experience on this test. Some people are going to handle things differently than others. So I'm curious to see why you felt so confident in your stance and your beliefs. Do I need to go back and study some more a little bit? Do I need to, kind of, test your theories against my theories and see, what are the cases? But ultimately, man, let's embrace a mindset where we're at least willing to learn. We're at least willing to try to be cordial in this space that we all have to interact with anyway. Come on, man. We're going to have to exist with each other anyway. We're all under this roof, under this globe. If you want to look at the world as a globe, those little snow globes that you, the little snow globes that you kind of shake or whatever. If we're all in one of those right now, we all got to coexist in here together. So instead of fighting and killing each other off of our differences and protesting and rioting and sabotaging other people's, whatever the case is, nah, man, let's embrace the fact that that's always going to be. There's always going to be a black man. There's always going to be a white man. There's always going to be an Asian man. There's always going to be a Democrat. There's always going to be a Republican. There's always going to be a transgender. We know that already. Let's stop arguing about that. We know that let's stop trying to change people as well, too. If they're that, they're that. If they're always going to be that, they're always going to be that, bro. If that's what they believe, that's what they believe. Let's keep it at that and figure out a way to coexist, inclusive of your biases, man. Like, we're spending too much energy on things that don't matter. We're not asking the right questions. I think there's an alternative way for us to approach certain situations. I need to get a new chair because this hurts. I can't sit that long. But yeah, man, like, come on, bro. Like, we have to have constructive conversations or else our civilization will collapse way sooner than I honestly think it's going to collapse. That is my whole thesis. That is my thesis. That is the point of this channel. That is what I'm trying to accomplish, man. And this is just the beginning. This is step 1. So again, I'm learning. I'm going to learn this live stream thing a little bit more. I would most likely, if you're in the event that you're unable to catch an actual live stream, because there will be no rhyme or reason as to when I will be doing so. At least not yet. Like, I want to be able to say, hey guys, tune in every Wednesday at 7. And I know that's what they recommend as well. To anybody that tells you to get in a live stream, they do emphasize the importance of having some type of schedule. For me, unfortunately, the way my life works and the way my, mental health works as well too, I can't necessarily say, hey guys, see you next Tuesday. Maybe eventually I'll get there. For now, you got to catch me when you catch me. If you're able to catch a live stream when it's actually live, kudos to you. But I'm going to make sure I do a good job of chopping up this longer form content and making it in small, digestible pieces as well too. I think that's an element as well too. So whether, I'm taking a full live stream, which is pretty common. I watch a lot of streamers as well too who do that. It's either people are able to join them on the live stream directly, or if not, of course, they make sure that they chop up their content and put it into small digestible pieces. Because I can definitely ramble. I can do a whole 2-3 hours easily, no problem. But maybe that type of content is not the most ideal for a lot of people. So I'm keeping that in mind as well too. So, Yeah, bro, that's the game plan. This is where I'm at with it so far. Of course, this is just the first one, and again, I gotta even figure out the mechanics behind the scenes because there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that you guys are not aware of. Personally, in my life, and then just business wise as well too. With learning streaming, like there's a lot of technicalities behind the scenes that I have to figure out and learn before I could feel fully comfortable. Be like, all right, guys, I'm on here. What up? But I have to take the first step. This is me taking the first step, man, because if I keep coming up with these excuses, then I'll never do this, and I have to do this. This is what I know I need to be doing. So yeah, nonetheless, this is cool. This is the first one, yada yada yada, and I will catch you guys on the next one.